they're driving, they've had wheel bearings fail on other cars, and they think that's what causes this type of noise, side to side. And the noise changes pitch. It sharply changes pitch. It goes from being quiet to loud, quiet to pattern sealed, wheel bearings. When you're driving and you load it side to side, you can get it to change pitch.
A low growl, a distant rumble. You might think it's wind or bad tires, but it's something far more dangerous. A failing wheel bearing. If ignored, this small component could lead to brake failure or even a wheel detaching. Keep watching to find out how to recognize the sound before disaster strikes. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Have you ever been driving and heard a strange noise? Perhaps a low hum, a faint rumble, or maybe an odd growling sound? It's easy to shrug it off and assume it's just the tires on rough asphalt, or maybe the wind cutting past your car. But what if that seemingly harmless noise was actually the first warning sign of a serious and dangerous issue hiding beneath your vehicle? Sounds you might overlook, or even get used to over time, could indicate a failing wheel bearing, and that's a problem you can't afford to ignore. It starts small, a barely noticeable hum as the car rolls forward. Over time, that hum can grow into a more pronounced rumbling, and as the issue worsens, the sound may turn into a deep, rhythmic growl. Many drivers dismiss it, misinterpreting it as road noise, especially if they're driving on worn-out pavement or rough terrain. But here's the tricky part. The sound isn't consistent. Unlike a clear mechanical clunk or a screech, a failing wheel bearing's noise can change subtly, especially with speed and as road conditions vary. That's why so many people continue driving unaware that they're gambling with their safety each time they push the gas pedal.
Also, tire noise, what I've noticed is on decel, you can tell a tire noise versus a wheel bearing. A wheel, kind of noise when you slow down. You'll hear a noise that's like a cyclic noise on decel that gets quieter and quieter. Wheel bearing on decel will get quieter and quieter. And tire noise, sometimes you'll hear like a whoa, 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 whoa.
If you've ever had a wobbly shopping cart at the store, you've likely heard a similar noise. Imagine how the cart's bad wheel shakes and grinds as you push it. Now, amplify that sound and vary its tone as you pick up speed. When you're driving, the growl from a bad wheel bearing can follow the same pattern, starting quietly, but growing louder and more troubling the faster you go. And here's the thing, it doesn't stop there. The noise becomes almost intimidating, as though your car is warning you to take action before the problem gets out of hand. And here's what's actually happening under the surface. A wheel bearing is a small but critical component of your car's wheel assembly. To keep it simple, it's made up of precision steel balls or rollers enclosed between metal rings, all packed with grease to reduce friction. This system allows your wheels to spin smoothly, even under the pressure of the car's weight and changing road conditions. But a failing wheel bearing usually starts to go bad when something interrupts this delicate balance. Maybe the grease starts to leak out, leaving the metal parts exposed to wear and heat. Or worse, tiny amounts of grit, water, and dirt find their way in, creating a destructive mix that accelerates wear and tear. Over time, this breakdown creates the noises you hear, those early warning signs your car is giving you. Here's a relatable way to think about this. Ignoring the noise your car is making is like hearing a fire alarm and assuming it's just a test. You might dismiss it and go about your day, but the longer you ignore the warning, the bigger the risk you're facing. That faint hum or occasional growl isn't a nuisance. It's the sound of trouble brewing. And much like a fire alarm that gets louder and more urgent, the noise from a bad wheel bearing demands action before it's too late. Now, let's talk about why this noise isn't just an inconvenience. A failing wheel bearing does more than just make your drive noisier. That subtle sound could be a red flag for major issues that go far beyond your ears. When a wheel bearing starts to go, it can cause problems with steering, leading to reduced stability and compromised control of the vehicle. You might also notice your tires wearing unevenly, a sign that the wheels themselves aren't rotating as they should be. And as the damage progresses, it can start affecting your brakes, making it harder to stop your car or even causing them to fail altogether. What starts as a small hum can snowball into some of the most dangerous situations you can encounter on the road. So, the next time you hear that odd noise, don't dismiss it as just part of the driving experience. It could be the first clue that your wheel bearing is reaching its breaking point. Fixing it now could save you from losing control of your car entirely or facing costly repairs down the line. But there's more. What happens if you ignore it altogether? The risks don't stop at inconvenience. They escalate toward life-threatening outcomes, ones you can avoid if you act quickly. Let's talk about what happens when warning signs get ignored. That low hum or growl from a failing wheel bearing isn't just an irritating noise. It's your car's way of warning you about a much bigger issue. A wheel bearing doesn't just keep things moving smoothly, it's key to your vehicle's entire stability. And when it begins to fail, stability is the first thing to go. The result? Increased vibrations, an unstable ride, and in the worst scenarios, a loss of control. What starts as an unassuming sound can spiral into brake problems and, in extreme cases, even a detached wheel. Picture this: you're cruising down the highway, everything seems fine, and then suddenly your brake pedal doesn't feel quite right. It might take longer to press all the way down, or worse, your car starts pulling sharply in one direction when you try to stop. This isn't just an annoying quirk, it could be the direct result of your wheel bearing's failure. According to carparts.com, a bad bearing can cause the brake rotor to wobble, which forces the caliper piston back into its bore. This leads to delayed braking, uneven pressure on the tires, and, more importantly, reduced control during critical moments. Imagine trying to stop in a sudden highway slowdown only to find your brakes struggling to do their job. It's a terrifying possibility. And it doesn't stop with braking issues. The stability of your entire wheel and hub assembly is compromised when the wheel bearing deteriorates. As carparts.com explains, a failing bearing disrupts the wheel's ability to maintain alignment, which can lead to wobbling, vibrations, or noticeable pulling to one side. Now, this might seem manageable at slow speeds, but at highway speeds, a wobbling wheel becomes a threat. Worst case scenario, the bearing fails so completely that the wheel itself detaches from the car. Losing a wheel while driving isn't just inconvenient, it's catastrophic. It puts you, your passengers, and everyone else on the road at serious risk. The scary part is how easy it is to overlook the symptoms. For example, uneven tire wear might seem like a separate alignment issue, but it could actually be a sign your wheel bearing is failing. A loose bearing, as carparts.com notes, can throw off the alignment of your wheels, causing abnormal wear on your tires. Instead of addressing the root problem, some drivers replace their tires over and over, never realizing that their worn-out bearing is the real cause. Even your car's ABS warning light could be a clue. But because these symptoms can seem unrelated or minor at first, it's easy for drivers to miss the bigger picture until more critical failures start showing up. A failing wheel bearing isn't just another maintenance issue. It's a serious threat to your safety and the safety of everyone on the road. That odd hum or rumble is more than a nuisance. It's a sign that your vehicle is warning you. If you notice unusual noises or your car feels unstable, don't wait. Have it inspected by a trusted mechanic immediately. Addressing this early not only protects lives, but also saves you from expensive repairs down the line. Stay ahead of problems, listen to your car, act fast, and stay safe. For more tips, subscribe and keep driving smarter.